Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Chai Tea Tai Chi Web Show. I am Dane Dormio, and I'm super excited tonight to be here with my good buddy, the martial philosopher, Andrew Brown. And this tonight's interview is special for a lot of reasons. But our guest tonight is Qipreneur Michael Finney. Michael Finney is not only a martial artist, etc., with a very diverse background, which I'm really looking forward to get into hearing some of that stuff, because it's like rad, all the kind of the different approaches and things you weave together. But he's also an entrepreneur and the CEO and founder of the Elightenment online learning platform, which is now hosting the Chai Tea Tai Chi online learning community, which is a really awesome thing that we are pleased and excited to be launching and announcing tonight. So I'm really interested to get the perspective into both of these worlds, the martial arts and the chi arts and the energy mind body arts world, and the online tech entrepreneurship and specifically online learning world, which is a particularly timely topic at this moment, I think. So, Mike, thanks for being here. Thanks for
having me.
Yeah. Thanks for setting all this up, and it's great to have you.
Thank you very much. It's definitely an honor to be here and to get to talk with you guys. I think I told you earlier today when we were talking, getting to work with particularly with some of these teachers, these instructors, it's just been amazing. Every day I'm learning something new from you and from all the different ones I've been working with. So it's been great.
I want to start with your origin story, because you've got a background that encompasses everything from yin yoga, tai chi, qigong, everything from Japanese, Cambodian, Indian martial arts, Okinawan style karate. Which I know you and Andrew definitely have a bond there, because
like an honorary Asian to me.
And so you're also a member of the International Association of Yoga Therapists and the American Tai Chi and Qigong Association. You have a Master's of Divinity, and you're a doctoral candidate in education. So how did all of this come about from such an unassuming looking guy? I'd love to hear the synopsis of all that.
You know those friends that you have that just never figure out what they want to be when they grow up? No. It's, starting martial arts when I was 12, and I've always been in and out of it, involved with it. It's a neat, not just from the physical aspect. You always think martial arts, you think self-defense, and no, there's so much more to that. And it really does draw in when people really get deep into it. You really begin to understand there's a physical, mental, and spiritual capacity there that you have to really begin to bring together. As well, when I began studying Tai Chi, and that's the one I've pretty much been staying with now, is again, you can't it's not just about the moves. I don't mean this like it's going to sound, anybody can learn forms. It's when you can begin to adapt those forms into your personal life that things really begin to, and you begin to understand the meanings behind them. As well, since about 2009, 2010, I also began practicing yoga. And at that point, there was a certain point going through that I was looking for, how do you begin bringing this yoga practice and this martial arts practice together? They have some common ground. Again, the mental, physical, and the spiritual components of it. And so I was introduced to a guy named Paulie Zen. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He was very popular for monkey kung fu, for also what's called Dao Yin, or what's now known as Yin Yoga, and began studying under him. And it really began studying Dao Yin. It really began to pull all those pieces together. I remember in a class with him one time talking about he was talking about the 5 elements, and all of a sudden this light bulb came on, and I was like, wait, now I understand why I'm doing the 5 elements form over here in Tai Chi and what all those moves mean. There's something to this. It's actually something you're supposed to be doing. And when I started bringing together that Tai Chi, the yoga, all of those pieces, all of a sudden a lot began to make sense. And how specifically to begin to bring in, the mind, body, and spirit to all aspects, whether it's martial arts, whether it's yoga, all of those things, and really began to learn that it's not just, physical practice. I mean, you can do it as both of them as a physical practice and get very healthy. You can get very healthy. I have no question about that. But I don't know, but you only get a third of the piece.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot more to it if you're willing to take that time to really investigate it.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's a lot more than just a dance. That's for sure.
And unfortunately, I think a lot of people come into it, whether you're talking about the yoga or the martial arts, I think they do come into it for the physical piece. And the hope is okay, that's great coming in there, but hopefully at some point you're going to come up to here and you're going to begin to really begin to embrace the other parts of it as well.
That's very true. One of my friends, she likes to say that Tai Chi is the philosophy of Taoism in human form.
Mm-hmm. It really is. It really is.
Studying Taoism by studying Tai Chi.
Well, that's why I consider the way I consider to be is a practicing Taoist. If somebody has to describe myself, I'm a practicing Taoist. That's kind of what what it means to me is the physical embodiment of that, exactly, of the philosophy and the observations. So that's kind of that's part of the picture as far as your background. But then how did the entrepreneurial part come into it for you, and what was the interrelation between those?
Oh, actually, yeah, there's quite a bit there. And I'll keep it short, I promise.
How did you get into online learning technology specifically?
Yeah, I was very lucky. I was working for an organization at Oklahoma State University in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And part of the benefit for that was you got to take classes. So I began working on my doctorate.
Oh,
and
cool.
This was in 1999. The professor I was working under, who was my, what do they call it, advisor and program chair and everything like that, she said, there's a lot of directions you can go in this. She said, I would highly recommend you focus on online learning, because she said, this is where education's going and this is where it's going to be. And so that really, as I began learning more, and this was the early stage, I remember, to give you an idea, I don't know if you're familiar with a learning management system called Blackboard.
Yeah.
It's like the 300-pound gorilla in online education. And at that time, the guy was working out of his house, and you could actually sign up and get a free copy of it to use for free. Yeah. You could get a free you could use Blackboard for free at the time. Now I think it's like 20,000 just to get started. And so yeah, and it's that advice she gave me really paid off for years and years to come. And what I began looking at, I'd already began looking at it from the martial arts, the Tai Chi side, but particularly once I finished up my 200-hour yoga teacher training, I began looking at what is being done online. I already had a company. We were already doing online learning. We were developing for corporations and organizations. For example, we do projects for the UN, for the State Department, things like that. And so once I finished, so it was a natural transition for me to say, what are people doing for online martial arts, Tai Chi, online, yoga? And the thing I was finding was it was basically 4-step process. Watch the video, follow the video, rinse, repeat. And that was all that was there. That was really all was out there at the time. And so I began talking with some of my team and saying, this could be done so much better. The tools are already out there. They've been out there for years. We've got to step up the game a little bit for folks, if for nothing else, to get other groups to do this as well. And so out of that came Elightenment. And so what that was creating a platform that Tai Chi instructors, martial arts instructors, yoga instructors, all of those could come on. They had a place where they could build community, whether it's through live stream, through forums, through chats. And that was the whole premise behind it. It was that, think about when you were taking martial arts training, whether it's Tai Chi, whatever other style of martial arts you've taken, or a yoga class you just have to be at every week. And it's not just about the teacher that's there. Maybe it is someone who's well experienced, someone's there, but it's about that community develops. You begin to develop friends, you develop, teammates. And, it's almost like, I've got to go. I can't let everybody down, or I've got to be there. We're doing something. So, yeah. And that was the whole premise behind Elightenment. And so, it's working out very well. It's so neat to go, because I do go in regularly and I visit the communities and see what's going on there. And it's just neat to see those relationships that are developing, that community that's happening, whether it's in the live session, whether it's in the forums, or whatever the case may be. But it's really beginning to take off.
Well, congratulations on your recent success. That's awesome, man.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just using the platform a little bit, trying to get used to it. And I noticed that you have your own yoga instruction on there, right?
I've got a couple of them on there. One, I'm currently running a free class. I started that last week just simply because of all the things that are going on. My feeling was, this is my thinking about, because I caught some criticism on this in some discussion groups. Why are you doing classes for free? You're cheapening our art. And it's like, you know what? I've got a number of people in this community that have done a great job supporting me teaching, whether it's through the platform, whether it's in live training, whether it's other instructors. I said, this is my way of giving back right now. It's time for me to step up to the plate and give back to those folks that have been very helpful. As well, I've got my private sessions that I work with folks I work with individually, because we are reaching a point that, we already have, I think, where people can't travel to do live training.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to try. I'm not traveling right now to go to.
Nobody's traveling right now, so this gives some of my clients the alternative to say, hey, we can't meet face to face right now, but we can meet through this platform.
Great idea. Yeah, I've had to cancel all my classes. I know that, and I've been reaching out to my students and saying, hey, you want to do some one-on-ones? You want me to post videos? What do you guys really want me to do? And Elightenment came along, and so I'm I'm going to lean into this as much as I can and try and get them to sign on.
Please do. Yeah. Yeah, that's the idea, is we want people to lean into it and use it for a resource. I mean, right now, particularly, a lot of studios are having to close the doors. Karate studios are having to close their doors, and so it's an opportunity to try to still keep that connection going with your students, and for your students to connect with each other.
Yeah, I speak. I mean, in terms of timeliness, and speaking of 800-pound gorillas in the room, there's like an 8,000-pound gorilla in the room right now, which just to date this, to date this for whenever anyone happens to be watching or listening to this, we're right now, as of this evening, about 1 week into a national quarantine here in the U.S. In the wake of COVID-19, coronavirus, etc. And so this is exactly where we're at right now. Is people are suddenly rediscovering or discovering even in new ways the value of online community and connection. That is, there are certain limitations to technological connection at this point. Like, we can't put hands on each other. That's an obvious limitation. At the same time, many limitations are removed. For example, geographic limitations. And, we certainly can have meaningful interactions in all kinds of ways for learning directly one-on-one and for sharing community. I had the most amazing experience in my living room with my mom this yesterday on Sunday, with the first online dance church that it just happens now because now's the time, and it was amazing. And just groups of people are coming together. The video conferencing companies are experiencing overloads of their systems because so many people are getting online and connecting. And with all the changes, this is just this is kind of the silver lining, if you will, that this happens to be a great time for all of us to link up in this way and forge these bonds of community and connection that we can be connected with from anywhere and always carry with us and bring with us wherever we go. So I think a lot of people are really discovering this right now, and what a perfect time to be in this space. And you had mentioned, Andrew, inviting people into our community, which is now more than ever. I've always said, if you've ever wanted to learn Qigong, now's the perfect time. Now is really the perfect time.
That's a really good time.
Yeah. And we have our online learning community on the platform, Elightenment, which anyone is welcome to join. And you're still a fairly new company. There's last I checked, there were about 16 communities on there so far, and you've been focusing primarily on yoga teachers and online yoga instruction communities to start, which I think is great, because that's a really strong market, and it was a great place to start. And you're branching out into Qigong, Tai Chi, meditation, all kinds of mind-body practices, martial arts, fitness, these other areas. And so for a place to come for all these kinds of resources, where it's not just about pre-recorded content, because there's basically infinite content out there to sort from, but this is about actual live community and connection. And yeah, the content is there too for your convenience and browsing leisure, but it's about actually coming together, actually getting together at a regular time with a group of people, just like you would if you were in a physical yoga studio or in a dojo or a place where these kinds of things are practiced, a meditation hall, and there are other people there, and you're holding that space and sharing that container. So I encourage anybody who's interested in this, if this sounds good to you, check out the platform Elightenment, and it's just an amazing buffet of selections for ways to enhance your health, wellness, well-being, and what better time for that as well, you know?
Now particularly is a good time.
Yeah.
And you brought up our goal. Our goal is by the end of this year to broaden out that platform where whatever you're coming for, mind, body, or spirit, or we'll hope all three, but that you will be able to, you'll have some community that you can join to meet that need. And so whether it's Tai Chi, Qigong, whether it's yoga, martial arts, all of that meditation. We've got a Buddhist group on now that offers meditation. And so, I know there's a counselor out of Atlanta that's wanting to do more mindful stuff that's planning to join us. And so the idea is really begin to broaden that spectrum so that when people come there, they can see, okay, here's an area I need to grow in. I'm going to work with this, or here's another area. I'll come over here. And they get that community. They get that feeling that they are a part of something. They're not just taking a class.
Good. Yeah, that's great. I used Blackboard, like you mentioned, and I remember how clunky it was and how it was basically just a file server for the most part. So I really am looking for something that's not just a file server, because we have plenty of that. I could just post all our videos on YouTube. Who cares?
You can put them on YouTube, Vimeo, Google Drive.
Yeah. And I mean, to hopefully not to get like too geeky or wonky about it, but just like speaking of the features of the platform, it's under development. It's it's an evolving thing. Of course, you're listening to and taking feedback and incorporating, developing new features, which I love. But it's a really, my impression of it and experience so far in getting things set up is this is an incredibly powerful platform with all kinds of features for making custom online learning experiences with things like courses, and you can actually design books and wikis and video sequences, and you can students can track their progress in all kinds of cool ways and earn badges and rewards. And there's so it's just got a really powerful set of features, and it's simple enough to be easy to get started and start using, and create a really easy and continuous learning experience for the student, so that it's not a matter of just watch these videos and follow along, but more like an online course that you progress through, along with live class time and interaction with other students and the instructors. So that's been my experience using it, and I really can I'm just scratching the surface in terms of the learning curve, but I'm really appreciating the dedication and the experience that went into creating this.
Actually, a lot of that came from instructors like y'all. It's been funny because we got the core platform going, and from there, and then maybe you would mention, hey, I could use this feature. I didn't think about that. That's a great idea. Okay, let's add it. And then, the development team, somebody else would mention, hey, is there a way I can do this? And it's like, no, but we'll figure it out. And developers go, they run away to the closet, do the development, back out they come, and here they come. Here's the new. To some extent, it's we're very cautious about what we put on there. We don't want to overload things. I think to some extent we might have already done that, but as well, we want to make sure that every instructor coming on there has all the resources they need to develop what they want. We also have begun a soft launch of, and we're still doing some testing with this because to make sure we've got everything really working before we do the formal launch. But we've done we've got a Roku TV channel now out. We've got an Amazon Fire TV channel out, and it allows the capability for people that, maybe they're not quite ready to take that step to sign up for a community to join. Well, over here's a resource for you. Have you got an Amazon Fire? Have you got a Roku? Or maybe you've got a Google Play or Apple TV, one of those things. So you can start testing the waters a little bit and kind of get things going. And then when you're ready, here we are.
That's really cool. All right. So I'm going to check out my Roku and see if I can find that channel. And,
there you go. Give it a try when you get some time. I think there's only like 30, 40 videos on there right now. But people are beginning to a lot of the instructors are beginning to now, they're seeing some benefit to this. And so they're starting to add their videos for us so that we can get those out there to people and get them going.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I love that. And especially and also that there's an app under development too, right? Yes. Did I hear that rumor somewhere?
I think it might have been me you heard that from. No, I've actually started getting a lot of questions. It's kind of interesting. I started getting a lot of questions. I guess first off, we designed the platform from the beginning to be mobile friendly. And so whether you're going on there to sign up in a community, a course, a workshop, or you need to access your material, you can still do that already right out of the gate, just going through a browser. We are working on plans for a app for Android and for the Apple Store, so that some of that content can be available offline for when you don't have full access to a good internet connection or a good data connection. And so that's definitely coming down the pipeline. And so we hope to have that outcome here very soon.
Good. I'm really glad to hear that, because one of my favorite ways to use these videos is to go in a park, just turn on a video that I already downloaded and just go through it, not just only wait for my computer at home.
Well, yeah, I think you're right. I think the most people now anymore don't want to have to go to their laptop, go to their desktop to access their course, the content. So we immediately out of the gate made it available for mobile, and then that way, no matter, and because I'm the same way. I mean, if somebody calls me and says, "Hey, can you take a look at this? I'm having an issue within my class." I'm not going to say, "Wait, let me get back to my laptop so I can do that for you in a couple of hours." It's like, no, I'll bring it up on my phone, take a look, what's going on. In most cases, I can go ahead and adjust it from there.
Yeah, makes sense.
And that's the way it should be. Anymore, that's really the way it should be.
Yeah. I can't not mention also that this is it's you're really speaking in congruence when you say that you are listening to this kind of feedback and developing the system, and it's in terms of just the ongoing dialogue we've had, and you're actually there listening, staying in conversation with the instructors, helping implement the things. So it's kind of like the best general leads from the front. And
some days it doesn't feel. It feels more like I got to hurry and catch up with them. But no, I've really, particularly in light of recent events, that I wanted to make sure this resource was available to instructors. And so internally, we did some shifting. We began, for example, Corey Powell is a name you'll see a lot. He's taken over a lot of the operations of the custom projects we work with, and the companies we work with. He's really managed that and done well. Mahir Jara, who's manages our IT and server side of things, has taken over a great deal of that, and so as well as our sales folks and everything. So it really put me in a position to really focus on this and make sure this happen. This resource is available, and what are the needs of the instructors, and to make sure we get those to them fast.
Okay. So I had one maybe random question. Have you thought about involving cryptocurrency at all into your new system?
Yes, we have been looking at that. It's just where to begin. That's such a vast area right now. I know, what is it even? I think even Facebook was looking at that at one time.
Oh no, they are doing it. They're not looking at it. It's coming. It's
coming. And so, yeah, I think I think that's an area we're going to have to address very quickly to be able to allow that option. It's just really finding where to land on at this stage, because that's also an area right now that's just very fluid, and and so it's yeah, that's I would certainly say that will be coming.
Cool. Good to hear.
I want to ask a question, kind of a different direction, which is from the perspective of an entrepreneur who's also a mind-body practitioner. What are some of your personal insights and experiences with incorporating the principles and insights from your mind-body practices into your role as an entrepreneur, and your work and your creativity and all of that, and being as effective as possible, and what's your personal take on that?
Yeah, I think it definitely plays into the way you run a company, the way right now we're running 30 developers, and project staff members. And so several areas. One, and this goes back to some of even the Taoist philosophies, speak less, listen more. I think that's a big piece to it as well. No, I'd say from the Taoist philosophy, it's really being able to flow with things. Whether you're an online company or a traditional in a store company, a brick and mortar company. That's the phrase I was thinking of. Everything's really fluid right now. I don't mean that in a positive way. I think a lot of companies, whether you're talking yoga studio, restaurant, the mom and pop's grocery store, I read today restaurants are looking, they keep enough capital for 2 days of operation.
2 days. Oh,
2 days. You've really got to be able to flow with it, accept what's going on. It doesn't, not take it back, except acknowledge what's going on is probably a better way to put it. You don't have to accept it, but acknowledge this is where we are right now. And to be able to take in a stressful time like this, to be able to break things down more into maybe a day-to-day, hour by hour, minute by minute. What are we going to do to manage this? And I think that's key with this. And the same thing when you're training in martial arts. You don't, when you're preparing for that sparring, whether it's for real or practice, you don't say, well, okay, how is this going to look in about 2 hours? How is this going to look in 1 hour? No, you're focused. You come down, you focus on the moment, you focus on what's going right in front of you, and you go from there. And the same thing applies. I think certainly transparency with the people you're working with is critical. Good or bad, be transparent with people and to be able to move forward from there. So yeah, I think there's a lot of application. I think living in the present doesn't necessarily mean you can't plan for the future, but recognize that you really have no way of predicting it. It's going to happen one way or another. Maybe your plans work, maybe they don't, but how do you roll with that?
Yeah, that's it. I know a lot of, I mean, before, the last few weeks and months, I it would have been easy to say many entrepreneurs are living in chronically stressed out, on the verge of burning out, and more so than ever. That would be true right now. So, what are just a couple of the biggest in terms of like 80-20, like the 20% things in terms of mind body practices and maintaining your health, wellness, insanity, and combating stress as an entrepreneur?
The first one, breathe. Especially right now.
That's what we've been saying all along, right, Andrew?
Yeah. I
I
saw a posting one time that said, I paid all this money for this yoga class so they could teach me to breathe and drink more water. No, but I think that is it. First, yeah, just breathe. This is something. It's something I agree we've never seen in our lifetime and probably never will again. But just slow down, take a breath. Don't let the external factors drive you. And so you're still in control. You can't control the external, but yes, you control what's going on internal. And it's the same thing with martial arts. You can't control what the external factors are. You can try very hard, but we both know that's not going to happen. You can only control what's internal and how you're going to react to it. That's one big one. I think too, when things really start to get overwhelming, it's time to step back a little bit and just give yourself some space, just like you said earlier, space for people. Give yourself some space, whether it's doing a yoga practice, it's going through Tai Chi forms, whether it's going through katas, whatever the case may be. Give yourself some time to get away from all this. I listen each. I usually try to catch the news in the morning. It's the same thing as doom, death, and destruction. You go onto Facebook, doom, death, and destruction, and it's so easy to get caught up in all of that and just, wow, the world's coming to an end here. We've got it's that type of stuff, and so, but we've been through these things before as a species. We've been through these things before. We're going to go through them again, and and oddly enough, we've seemed to survive in spite of ourselves. And so, yeah, sometimes it's best just to turn it all off, take a break, do something that can bring you back into focus. And that's the key. If you think about through your martial arts training or through your Tai Chi, I'll back up a little bit. When I teach a Tai Chi class, I always talk to, particularly if it's for more of the wellness and fitness, I tell people, when Tai Chi was created, when it began evolving, I said it was a different culture in China at the time. There was violence, there was tribalism, there was a lot of these regions. And if you went out, whether it's as a Taoist monk, as a Buddhist monk, or the chances of getting robbed, attacked, things like that were very great. What happens when that occurs? Blood pressure goes up, heart rate goes up, everything starts kicking into autopilot. We're ready to fight, or run for it. In either case, all of that's going to begin to occur. You fast forward to the 21st century here, and what happens? You're late for work, you got to race off to an appointment, a pipe bursts in the basement, or the battery's dead in the car. What happens? Heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, all the auto things kick in. The difference is back there is eventually it would begin to drop down. Once the incident was over with, all settled back to normal. Today, we're not seeing that happen. we're seeing that this heart rate up, blood pressure up, everything like that going, the auto factors kicking in, they're remaining for weeks, 2 weeks, months, and on. And so you suddenly start beginning to hear terms like high blood pressure, heart disease, maybe anxiety, depression, all of those things. And so it's good to come back to some of those basics to say, let's bring it all back down. What did you learn in Tai Chi? Control the breathing, keep the body relaxed. What do you learn in karate? Control the breathing, stay focused, not panic. Yoga, the same thing. Focus on the breathing, focus on the breath. When the pose gets too tough, it gets too hard, focus on the breath and just kind of lean into it a little bit and see what happens. They're all telling you the same thing.
That's so concise and poignant. I would include in there breathe, relax, and align.
Mm-hmm.
Are kind of pretty universal, and in terms of whether you're when you're sitting at your desk, and like how when you're working or whatever, or if you're in your car, you're driving, like how's your alignment? Check your alignment, check your breathing, check your relaxation, just continually. And if you're sitting for long periods of time, take breaks. When you mentioned getting away, getting away doesn't have to mean anything. It could be 5 minutes where you just go outside and breathe, or move, or even just get up from your chair and stand up once an hour, or that sort of thing, and breathe, move, relax, feel your body. And the greatest enemy right now, as you said, it's no longer saber-toothed tigers, and it's no longer bandits on the road. It's chronic stress. It's the adrenal stress response kicking in and never completely returning to baseline, over long periods of time. So this is this.
Don't forget, we're always sitting down now. Always. We're driving to work, I'm sitting down. Get to work, sitting down. I'm working, I'm sitting down.
Here's the one that always gets me. You've been in the car for a really long time. You've made this 8-hour drive, 16-hour drive, whatever the case may be. You walk in the door to home. You can finally relax. What's the first thing you do? Sit down.
Sit your ass down.
Yeah, and I mean similarly, live in a box, drive in a box, work in a box. Like go get outside. If 1 to 3 times a day for 5 to 15 minutes, if possible, you go outside or wherever you can to move, breathe, sit, contemplate whatever your mind, body, energy system needs, just as a regular practice, like brushing your teeth is a form of personal energetic hygiene. This is what all of us need more than ever to I want to say combat, but I don't really want to say combat the quote unquote enemy of chronic stress.
Well, it is. It's the new saber-toothed tiger and the bandits.
What we have to fear is fear itself, essentially. And so wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if take a moment now, as needed throughout the day, to shift your mind, body, energy state using the tools you have available to you, the breathing, movement, concentration, and that's what I love, that we're on the same team. We're on this together as teachers, and this is what we're supporting the world to do. So in that vein, I want to make sure that people know how to connect with you, and specifically, there's if you are a teacher of mind body practices of some kind, and especially if you're looking to like get into online instruction right now, it happens to be a great time to and I know many many of us are in that boat. Or if you've been in online instruction for a while and you're looking for a platform that, I mean, there's lots of online learning platforms and course sites and things. There's great stuff out there. This is specifically for the mind-body community. So it's customized and it's specialized in that way, which is a really powerful thing. So there's a powerful e-learning platform that's specialized exactly for what we do, and that's the beauty of it. So, if you're a teacher in the space wanting to get online, wanting to upgrade to a powerful, flexible platform that allows for online community creation, this is definitely something to look into. If you're wanting to learn these kinds of practices and join a community, this is something to look into. And if you what should people do to connect with you and to learn more about this?
Absolutely. First, they can go to our site. There is a section there about setting up a community. The second piece, if they want to, I don't think it'll let me type anything in here, but if you want to just post,
you can put you can drop the links in the comments after we're done, so they'll be there.
I'll post my email. It's michael.finney@elightenment.com. Certainly reach out to me personally. I'll be glad to help out. I'll be glad to answer any questions, anything that we can do to help out. Please feel free to contact me directly, and I'll make sure that if I don't know the answer, I will definitely get it for you, whether something's doable or not. We do have a really good team right now, folks that are really dedicated to this and want to make sure that everything is out there for the instructors and for the students as well.
Yeah, and of course the platform itself is Elightenment.com. So that's the URL on the website, and I'll make sure that you're able to put all your links and that info in the comments here on this video. That is where you can see the selection of online learning communities that are available for our community, which is now launched on Elightenment.com. The Tai Chi online learning community. We have a basic membership, which is $10 a month, which gets you access to all of our pre-recorded content and access to ask questions in a chat forum type environment. And it's basically a complete online Qigong and mind body mastery curriculum that we are adding and growing to. And that's our basic membership at $10 a month. Our premium membership includes individual instruction, as well as once a week for now. We may grow as demand increases, but for now, once a week, live online weekly classes. And the normal price for that is $100 a month. In the spirit of helping and reaching out in this time when these practices are needed, we have, kind of ironically, a quarantine special. So we're lowering the price of our premium membership in our online learning community to $50 a month, lifetime access for $50 a month, as long as the national quarantine in the US lasts. So if you join now, you'll lock in that price for as long as you're a member. We hope you'll join us on this lifelong mind-body mastery journey. And that's our way of reaching out and doing our part to help make these practices more accessible and more available, and really reach out to people who are looking to join and to build community right now and have other people to connect with in these times of uncertainty. So the platform is Elightenment.com, and there's a beautiful selection of courses and communities you can join already, and more are joining all the time. And I'm sure that it's just going to flourish faster than ever with conditions being what they are. So
it's growing rapidly. Well, just yesterday I used to have hair like Andrew. If that gives you any idea how fast they're growing. But I love it.
When you started this Elightenment. Wonderful meeting with you, Mike. Thanks so much for joining us today. Yeah, I really look forward to exploring Elightenment and getting students on there, and making it a regular part of my day.
I appreciate the positive feedback from you guys. I also appreciate that the feedback in general. You guys have helped build some of the plugins that are now on there. And so as a result of feedback from you guys, and I'm looking forward to a long relationship working with you guys.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate that. And I particularly, Mike, appreciate your hands-on approach and your down-to-earth personality. And I really appreciate you coming on the show tonight and being so open and generous with your time and with everything you do. And I just look forward to everything that is all the positive developments that are to come. And I'm really glad that you're doing what you're doing. So thanks for everything.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. Bring me on anytime. I'll be glad to. Thank you.
Yeah, to be continued. Absolutely. Thanks a bunch, guys. Thanks everyone for joining us, and have a good night and be healthy.
Bye.